makes a great one for the guys or the gals. Also, our two-tone hammered band ring from $129 to $109. I can't tell you how many times people have said, I want more rings from Michael Anthony. Because, you know, our rings, you think of the wear and tear, that's something that really needs a lifetime warranty.
And this is a beauty because this is made with actually what they call a flat diamond.
It looks like the earring from the first hour, the drop earring.
And if I were to try to make this not in diamond cutting process, where you would hammer the gold, which was, again, one of the first processes that I learned, it's hard to do because you have to support this dome in order to do it. But you could never get those big, chunky looks. This looks like a piece of gold that you carved out pieces of the gold. And it's two-tone also, so it's very subtle, but comfortable to wear. If you have a little more difficulty getting rings over your knuckle, this helps because it has that dome inside. But this would be a ring that you, again, will fall in love with. I also like rings that are not too wide.
Right.
Because then not everybody can wear a wide ring. This is good for a pointer finger, middle. I don't know if we have all the sizes.
We do. We have 5 through 11 available for you, and at the widest point, 3/4 of an inch in the width, but it tapers down in the back, so you can open and close your hand very, very easily. And then I think it's interesting too, Anthony, to do this one in two-tone. I mean, as if it weren't difficult enough to then actually do it in two-tone. So there you can see the white versus the yellow in that beautiful two-tone, and how each section, like the light hits each section, Anthony.
See, I could never do that by hammering the gold. And to actually carve it out by hand, the old process used to be like a hand engraver. See, diamond cutting opened up our horizon, allowed us to do things, but originally we never had a tool like this. It was only in the constant trying and changing and experimenting did we find a tool like this. But you'll love the design. I love that shot, Connie, when you held it.
I love it.
You know, so perfectly there, because you see that it radiates from the center.
All the way, look at that.
Beautiful.
Here you can see. Look at that.
And what a value, too.
I know. Again, $20 savings, $27 and change on your charge card. Remember, too, you can do 5 flex if you have your HSN charge card. This is just what you almost have to see this in person to appreciate it.
And also, these are low maintenance. You don't have to baby this ring. Because it's cut with the diamond, you get the full strength of the actual gold itself. So you'll love it in person.
Okay, thank you. We just see Miss Amy. She's coming up with Serena.